This time, I'd like to call to order the Adams County, Ohio Valley Board of Education. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Best?
Yes. This time, we all stand for the pledge of the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I would entertain a motion and a second for approval of the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Dr. Shipley has moved. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Campbell has seconded. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda as presented?
On treasurer's business, when you do a first and a second for approval, I want to stop at item G. So
Okay.
your first vote will be approving items A through G.
Okay.
Then insert a new first and a second for discussion on item H.
Okay. Thank you. Any other additions or corrections? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Shipley?
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Best?
Yes. At this time, I would entertain a motion and a second for approval of the minutes of the May 10th, 2021 regular meeting, the May 24th special meeting, and the June 8th and 9th work session as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Riley has moved. Do I have a second?
So moved. Second.
Mrs. Campbell has seconded. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes as presented? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Best?
Yes. Okay, at this time, before we move on to the second part of our meeting, which is student achievement, we do not have any students here this evening. We do have a couple of guests. I want to welcome Kim Adams from the SOECS, and she is here to give us a short presentation about 2021. Kim?
Good evening. I want to thank the Board of Education and Mr. Cease for this opportunity to present the year in review from our office, the Southern Ohio Educational Service Center. And our office is located in Wilmington. And so we just want to take a moment, just a brief amount of time, just to be able to share with you some of the services that we were able to offer this year. This past year and a half has been a unique year, as all of you know. And so we wanted to make sure to highlight some of those services that we've been able to provide to our 12-member school districts. So I was promised that all I need to do is press the space bar and I should be good to go on the Chromebook. So just give me a moment, please.
Hello, this is Beth Justice. I proudly serve as the Superintendent of Southern Ohio Educational Service Center. It is our mission to ensure excellence in performance by pioneering high-quality services and learning through collaborative partnerships, inspiring continuous learning through shared expertise, and fostering student, family, and community success by addressing tomorrow's challenges today. We serve 12 school districts in Adams, Clinton, Fayette, and Highland counties, which is 1,990 square miles. In comparison, our regional area is bigger than the state of Delaware. We impact 185 administrators, 1,827 educators, and 22,966 students in our region. Throughout this video, you will see examples of our work to fulfill our vision of leading with innovative solutions for student and community success.
So as you can see, that even though we had a unique year and a half, we were able to serve our districts just basically following the guidance of the CDC and so forth. And so we did what we need to do to navigate as the district has here at Adams County, Ohio Valley. So does anyone have any questions for me about any of the services or things that you've seen in the year review that you would like to ask me?
I would just like to say on behalf of the board and the rest of the district, a big thank you. It's been, as we've, everyone has talked about, it's been a difficult year for everyone nationwide with all of the challenges, the fears, the concerns, and it hasn't been easy to reteach ourselves to navigate and produce in a different way. And as a district, we are indeed very appreciative of those support services that helped us to be able to try to carry on and provide our students with the best we could under these circumstances. So,
Absolutely.
It certainly took all hands on deck this year to make this happen and to have, I am so thankful we were able to have our students in our buildings and participating and doing, and as I said, our staff along with your staff willingly stepped up and wanted to come to work, wanted to serve students, and we really saw that passion and drive for students, and that's just very refreshing to see. So thank you for that, and please convey to your fellow workers that it was noticed.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I would definitely make sure to share that information with them. Thank you. If there are no other questions, I just want to say thank you again this evening for the opportunity to present our year in review. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim.
They're just here. They're just here to support.
Oh, they're just here to support. Okay. I want to make sure.
No, they're
I
just
saw them. I thought, oh, maybe they are. Okay.
Charlie, I would just like to mention something. I know we've already done student and staff recognitions, but I was just thinking about the past couple weeks we've had students here at the CTC participating in the GRIT program and getting certifications. And while those students aren't here to be recognized, and I'm sure we'll do something with that towards the end when they finish the program, but I just want to say that there were at least 9 of those students who spoke on the radio this past week and then participated in a press release in this building last Friday. So I'm very proud of those students, and I'm proud of our district for offering this program for them in collaboration with OMJ and the Future Plans Company. And I think our students are going to receive some real benefits from that. So I just wanted to bring that up. I think it's important that we celebrate the good things we have going on. So
yes.
I just wanted to bring that up.
Yes, I agree. Anytime we can give the kids more tools, more education toward employability, that's always a positive thing. So yes, and I'm glad that the radio show was very nice. The students did a good job representing, and they all seemed enthusiastic. So
yeah, and they're going to be, I know Christy Amy, the project coordinator for GRIT, she is doing, they didn't record the radio show that day, so she is going through, she recorded it on her phone, and she has gone through and is putting still pictures with
all of that. Yes,
so that will be available on our website to listen to it a later time.
Good.
So.
That would be great to have that on the website as well. Okay. At this time, we will have the treasurer's report. I will need a first and a second for that, please. Do we have,
I'd like to call for an
executive
executive session before
Okay.
that.
Okay, I believe we do have need for an executive session for matters of G1.
So I will make that motion.
I'll get that. I will second. And that is to consider one or more as applicable Appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, compensation of a public employee or official. Investigation of charges, complaints against the public employee, official, licensed, or regulated individual unless a public hearing is requested. So, roll call, please.
Mrs. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Best,
Yes.
Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mrs. Shipley.
Yes.
There will, of course, be business to be conducted after executive session. And I can't guarantee there won't be a need for the, there is another executive session later in the meeting, so, okay. Let the record show the board has recessed at 8:25.
7:20.
Oh, 7:25, I'm sorry.
7:20.
We're off our normal time schedule here. show that the board has returned to general session at 8:35. Next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report. We will be looking at items A through G. First, with a vote there, we do have upcoming contracts for our nursing staff for our buildings, so we will need a first and a second on that to open that up for discussion.
So moved.
Mr. Riley has moved. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Davis has seconded. Discussion.
I knew the nursing contract was a late ad, but I think it's important. Brian cleared up for me that it is
The nursing-
copy over.
Nursing contract came in this afternoon, a little after 3, and it is rolled over the same prices as we had this year.
Oh, okay.
No increase in costs. In front of each of you, I laid a sheet showing the transfers and advances. In your board agenda, there was just a placeholder until we
Okay.
found out the amount of state and federal programs where we had not received reimbursements yet. That's the top part. And then the bottom part, the permanent transfers. There was a late expense to the CTC, food service, and the House Bill 264 payment.
Okay, other than ESSER, or some of these are our typical.
Those are all state and federal grants.
Yes.
Where it's reimbursement. We spend the money and then we wait for the settlement back from the state or the federal government for reimbursement for what we have spent.
Yeah. Other than the COVID, though, some of these are ones we typically see like
Typically
this.
every
Yes.
year.
Yeah, okay. I thought
The
so.
big one to note is the food service.
Food service is higher than what we expected. And we know we have issues in food service.
Yes.
brought on by legislation, right? Not internal operations.
When the decision was made federally and statewide to do free food for everyone, they did not follow that up with a payment reimbursement for that. So we've been eating the cost of that.
Unfunded mandates.
You have your temporary appropriation in front of you that will, to start the new year. I called Dave, or emailed David Gifford just to give you some comparison idea. The temporary appropriations to start the school year for our district is $83 million for next school year. We employ 495 full-time employees and another 140 part-time and sub-employees. Adams County employs 300 employees, and for the first 6 months of the year, their budget was $8.5 million. It clearly signifies that we're one of the major employers and economic factors within the county.
Okay. Okay, are there any other questions at this time?
I would just like
Okay.
to, for the
Certainly. Go ahead,
record,
Mr. Cease.
praise the work and that we get from the Adams County Health Department. Nurses done a terrific job all year
Oh,
long
absolutely.
with COVID. Dr. William Hablitzel is just a wonderful man to work with, and so.
And they also stepped up and took on extra, just like everyone else, extra this school year, and it helped us with COVID tracing, with education of staff, with checking students, some things that were not part of their contract that they maybe could have balked on, but did not at all. They willingly stepped right up and were more than willing to help us with that. So, and yes, it has been a very good relationship with the health department, with the nursing staff. I agree as well. Okay, hearing no further discussion, roll call, please.
Okay, Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mrs. Shipley,
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Betts.
Yes. Okay, at this time, the next item on the agenda is H, inside millage resolution. I need a first and a second to open that up for discussion.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Davis. I will second. Roll call, please. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Not roll call. Discussion, please, is what I meant to say, sorry. We have a resolution, so just to make sure, or some, in case someone doesn't have a paper copy, to proceed with the conversion of blank mills of inside millage from current expense use to permanent improvement use. I just will reiterate, this is for permanent improvement. It cannot be used for employment, academics, field trips. It cannot be used for anything except permanent improvement. We have been receiving funding through the SRS grant and some of those that have allowed for some changes within the buildings this year, but as they are related to COVID. And we do know that that federal funding probably will not be forever, and because of that, this board has deemed it necessary to consider this and look at this, because when we built the new elementaries, the state of Ohio in their OSFC funding, it was mandatory that there be a percentage set aside for permanent improvement. And the reason for that mandate was because the state of Ohio had buildings falling down all over the state that were unfit for children to be in. Some of those children were my children. They were in used double wides that absolutely were not conducive to the mandates and the standards that most things require. So I experienced that. I love those old buildings. I hate to see those old buildings to go, especially that little red brick that had been there for over 50 years. I mean, I forget just how long it was. It was
1923.
yeah, 23. But that's the reason that mandate was put in there, because we all know if we don't maintain, then at some future date, those buildings are not going to stay as nice as they are now. That is a necessary thing. But we also know, I'm a taxpayer. I have property. I have more than one property. I don't like to pay taxes, any more taxes than I have to either. But we are mandated with trying to come up with a balance, and sometimes that's very difficult, and we struggle very, very much with that decision, because we want to be first and foremost responsible to our students and our children, which are our future, but also to our community and our taxpayers, to our staff. So there's a lot to consider and a lot to review. And I just wanted to speak first and give that information to say to you, this board has not taken any of this decision-making process lightly. And we have wrestled mightily with it, each of us individually, on what we need to do, or even what amount has been discussed. I mean, I'll be honest, we have listened to our taxpayers, and we've said, okay, do we really need this number? Could we manage with this number? Will this number work? Can we have taxpayers see a bigger refund, and there still be a safety net there for the schools? I mean, it's been an ongoing discussion amongst ourselves. We've all debated, is that something doable? And we've talked with other people. I know personally I have, and I'm sure the rest of this board has. I've talked with other people who are financially savvy and said, I would like some advice on financial outlook and what, your feelings are about this. And I feel like that's just being a good board member, doing our due diligence, trying to educate ourselves and to thoroughly, research a decision before we make it. So, okay, I will be quiet and open the floor for others to speak.
I know that what was it last year, how much did we spend on chillers that we really had to move from general fund, David? Do you
All
remember?
the chillers, Brian?
It was in permanent improvement money, but it was 1.5 million.
Yeah, 1.5 mil out of permanent improvement for chillers last year.
But that money originally came from general fund, didn't it?
Well, we budgeted and saved that money to provide that expense.
At one point, though, there was really not, when did the permanent improvement go into place? Because at that time, we didn't have anything, and we did,
When the board moved the inside
Yeah.
millage back in 2007.
yeah, back in 2007, there hadn't been anything moved since then. So, you know, I mean, that's the last time anything was moved into improvement for a continuous permanent improvement plan.
So what we're really doing here is putting in place a fund that will maintain these buildings, our high schools that are, what, 20-plus years old.
Yeah,
I read an article the other day about the cost of a home, which, you know, this is the home for our students and those buildings, that you should figure 40% of whatever you paid for your home for the cost of maintenance over the life of that building.
jeez,
So if you figure that for our buildings,
that's almost half.
yeah, 40% it costs to maintain them as long as you're using them. So do that times 10 or 11 buildings that we maintain.
Right, right.
I
Is
know-
there any other input? Rick, were you?
Yeah, I know that we've kicked around several different numbers when we started out originally. I think we had the opportunity to move 3.5, and it kept inching down, and after talking with everybody, I feel like that $1.5 million would be a fair proposal to make.
Okay,
So I'd make that motion.
you make that resolution for,
Yes, I would.
okay? We will need a second on the resolution, first of all. So, do we have a second on that resolution to move forward with a vote on that amount?
I'll second that.
Okay, Mrs. Campbell has seconded. Now, we have a motion, correct? We need to make a separate motion, reword.
You had a motion to open for discussion.
Yes,
Now you have a motion setting the amount,
yes.
so you need to,
So we need a separate motion.
well, you need to, have me do roll call to close your discussion.
Okay, yes,
and then-
after the
and then-
resolution.
And then a vote to either approve or disapprove the
Of the
1.5.
resolution, and then another, but I'm asking another, we will need another one for a motion to vote at that number if that resolution passes, correct?
No, because you just made the.
Okay, okay. I just want to make sure that we're following, the protocol here and getting all the rules right. Because I know sometimes when we table, we have to table and untable, you know, before we can make a motion. Robert's rules is, if you're not an FFA member, it's kind of confusing. Okay, roll call. If there's no further discussion, roll call, please.
Okay, this vote is to close discussion.
Yes. This is on the resolution to close the discussion on the resolution that's been made.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mrs. Bass,
Yes.
Mr. Riley,
I vote yes to close the discussion.
Mrs. Shipley,
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now you have a motion and a second to proceed with the conversion of 1.5 mils of inside millage from current expense to use as permanent improvement.
Okay. And
Is there any further discussion on
on that
motion?
on the mills at 1.5. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Shipley,
Yes.
Mr. Riley,
No.
Mrs. Bass.
Yes. Okay, at this time, we are to the superintendent's report and business. First, Mr. C's, legislative.
Legislatively, I sent you, the board, I sent you the webinar as well as the slides
Yes.
from the budget bill, which is a big topic right now.
Yes, very big.
It looks like they're right on schedule. As they often outline, they're in conference committee. I know Brian hasn't heard anything. I haven't heard anything. So again, stay tuned, you know, should hear something the next few days, hopefully. But I think what I sent you in terms of the webinar and in terms of the slides is an excellent presentation where you can see what one versus the other.
Right.
okay?
Fair.
So, the other thing legislatively that I wanted to bring to your attention was the Supreme Court decision on carrying guns. So,
Oh, I didn't get
it's
a
the
chance to
Gabbard,
read all that yet.
the Gabbard versus the Madison Local School District Board of Education, and what it says is that the decision makes it clear that for now at least, all school employees, including teachers, administrators, and support staff, must complete an approved peace officer training or have 20 years of experience as a peace officer to carry concealed guns onto campus. What happened was parents and students in the school district in Butler County sued the district after it authorized the superintendent to designate employees to carry concealed weapons after an active shooter incident. So it would appear that, based on that court decision, there's going to be some schools that are probably going to be reeling from that. So,
Wow.
you know,
Within
we've-
our own area, there'll be students within our own close vicinity that are gonna
Yeah,
maybe have,
we've invested in our 3 SROs and our safety, our safety director and assistant safety director. So I think we
yes,
made a good choice.
yes, I agree.
That's all I have legislatively. I think
Okay.
that's the great anticipation of what that budget's going to look like. And
Okay.
let's just not think about school funding. There's many other pieces in that as well to consider. So please look at that.
Absolutely.
The educational piece. Last week, and I've got Tracy here with me, Amy and Brad. We all sat through a meeting on the multi-tiered system of support and how we're going to roll that out on August 16th and 17th to our high schools. Certainly appreciate Sherry's, and the folks that are here, their work, the principals' work. Danielle Poe from the Adams County Health Department is just a joy to work with. She really is. So we've got a plan in place to put that together on the 16th and 17th. So Amy, Tracy, or Brad, anything to add to the MTSS? We'll have more to say about that later, but is there anything you'd like to say about that? Okay.
Can I add, at our work session, Tracy came and gave a presentation to the board as well. First of all, to educate us on what MTSS was, how it could help our students, how it could reach out to our upperclassmen and help them more with some of the social emotional issues that they deal with, how to better equip our staff to work with that in positive ways to help those kids. So I'm excited. I think it has the potential to be a very good program and reach a lot of our kids. I also feel like there's probably more staff that would like to help, but they don't know exactly how to go about it or what to do. We all know early adolescence and adolescence, if you've ever had children or even been around children of that age, that's a tough time for them no matter what. So many things are changing. But if they have other issues going on in home life, or they feel, sometimes kids at that age, you look at them on the outside and they look perfect, but inside they don't feel that way and they struggle and they need that extra support. So I'm thrilled with the opportunity to investigate something that can help our students.
Well, I think as a group, just to follow up on that, and then I'll move on to the next item, is that the multi-tiered system of support is an opportunity, because you just said the word opportunity, you made me think of that definition, opportunity to remove all barriers and obstacles to improve outcomes for every student. So I think, and it was just in a conversation with somebody the other day regarding, the needs of a teacher. So, and you learn this early on when you're in this game, this education, you go into your classroom and you're excited about your subject matter, and there sits the kids, and you're thinking, okay, everybody is just dying to learn, chemistry or earth science or biology. Well, you soon realize they're not as excited about your content matter as you are. And then when you look out into and I don't say this to be demeaning to anybody here, anywhere in education, but when you look at your classroom if you look at those chairs in front of you, you could put a person in there and put a label on that individual that has a barrier or an obstacle. So when you think about the needs of a teacher, they need to crack those barriers, or they need to work within that in order to educate that kid. And that's what makes this an exciting opportunity. It's going to be a challenge. We've had discussions already, careful how we roll this out.
Right.
It's not always what you say, or oftentimes it's how you do it. And so it was a good discussion with the group, and I think there's already awareness. We do this, we do that, and I think that's what some other people are going to realize on those days. So.
We're using a different graphic than what I showed you with the board. It's much more understandable as an umbrella, and the different things we're doing. Because we're doing a lot of things, but we just need to align what we're doing in open communication, because people don't feel like it's more. It's just aligning everything.
I want to say one of the things that really struck me was Danielle Poe talking about, there's also a survey that we participate in with our county to learn more about our particular youth and how they can be helped. And, you know, not only in our county, but as a whole, they learned, we all think that the largest issue nowadays with our youth is, a lot of people think it's drugs. Actually, it's still alcohol. And also the other thing that surprised me is, you know, when they used to have the training before prom, when we had the state troopers come in and they did the mock car accident, trying to stress the kids how important it was not to do that. Well, research and studies have shown after, it wasn't beneficial at all. If anything, it did more harm, because some of the kids were traumatized by how graphic the demonstration was, and that there can be great intentions, but if it's presented in the wrong way, it can actually go against. So we have to be very aware of how not we perceive it, but how those students in those chairs perceive it, and try to present it in a way that, like Mr. C said, that then they feel open enough with us to say, maybe I need some help. I need extra help. Can I reach out in this program and receive that help? Because we do now have some extra helps in place with Danielle, Mr. C's, we'll now have more mental health help for our students because of, and this is, you know, we're all working together. That's through Danielle and the health department, that will make that available. But we have to have students be comfortable enough to ask for that help and want that help as well sometimes.
Yeah,
So
that's an
so I think it's going to be a good thing for our kids.
Well, we were called to a meeting, I think at the beginning of the year last year, and it was Judge Spencer, Danielle Poe, and Doc, and they've been working on that initiative for some time. So it's an exciting, again, there's that word, opportunity.
Okay, great.
Just a couple other things. I know, Galen, you've already mentioned the public relations event that was held here at the CTC for GRID.
Yeah.
Excellent showing of people, and again, it's a little bit outside the norm. That's okay. It's getting results. The other, let's see,
Do we have an issue?
you probably brought up I think you were talking
Okay,
about
that's
the
what
OES
says on the
survey.
line item, but I'm
I
gonna make
sent
sure.
you guys the OES survey results.
Yes,
That's
you
what
sent
were
the
talking
OES.
about.
I'll be honest, I haven't had a chance to wade through all those results yet, because it's
Okay.
rather lengthy, but yes, I did see them, and do definitely want to review that to see what our kids said about the questions they were asked on that survey.
That's fine.
Okay,
So I guess I'm confused. It says to see enclosed, item B. Is there,
I think that was a placeholder in case there was
Yeah.
action.
okay.
I didn't see anything actually added there on
Okay.
that. The next portion is facilities, transportation, and security. Mr. Parker, did you have anything to bring for security?
Sure, just briefly. Of course, we're coming into July. I'll be doing my annual testing of the security features that are already established in a building of what needs to be fixed and or upgraded for that matter, but everything's pretty well established. It's just testing those features. The safety portion of our students hasn't gone away during the summer, and we actually had a little discussion of this earlier, myself and Ms. Spires, about what's out there. What are kids doing during the summer? And I've been personally involved in a few different investigations with online activity, social media. Bullying, just criminalistic behavior. And this is more so for the parents that are listening out there as well, of know what your kids are looking at. If they can't be friends with them in real life, they cannot be friends with them on social media. Just plain as simple as that. They are being victimized. Plain as simple as that. There are predators out there that is preying on that device, that TikTok, the Snapchat, Facebook, anything and everything you can think of. So parents know what your kids are looking at. For my children, it's a privilege. It's not a right to have social media or anything. It can be taken away.
Yes.
Plain as simple as that. So just I wanted to bring that to the attention of the community,
Yes.
of know what your kids are doing. And
Thanks for that reminder, Mike.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're still doing safety-related stuff during the summer with our kiddos.
Oh.
So just moving forward into next school year, getting everything prepared and ready to go
Okay.
come August.
I know you're also working on a new mandate from the state on the safety report.
Yes.
And has to be new guidelines. You have to write up plans. There's some lengthy reporting material there. How are you coming on that?
So
Still working on it,
Still
I'm
working
sure, and gathering data.
yet we still haven't had any guidance from Ohio Department of Public Safety
Oh,
of
geez.
how that shall look.
Okay.
But I'm being proactive. We are being proactive and starting to get things established right now. We
Okay.
may have to change it, but at least we are having a good foundation where to go.
Okay,
So,
that's great.
It's in
Okay.
motion.
Okay.
All right, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you
guys.
very
Thank
much. Okay, at this time, is there a need for a second? Anybody have a need for a second executive session before the vote on personnel, which is 1 through 5? Okay, here.
1 through 4. Won't we vote on 5 separately?
Oh, okay, yes, okay. Gotcha. I do see that, 1 through 4. Yeah, I see that name now, yes. So we will vote on 1 through 4 collectively.
I have a question.
You have a question?
And I'm
Well,
not-
I'll need to get first and second, and then I'll open it. So we'll vote on, the first move will be for 1 through 4.
Before we do that, we may need to move into exec. I may ask Rich if I have a licensing or certification question on an employee.
Okay.
Is that something that we can
Okay,
discuss?
I'm sorry. Yeah, that would be an exact question.
Openly, or is that something that we should go into exec?
Would be, I don't know that
And you can ask
may
it
or may
without
not have the-
specific name.
That's right. Can we
just a
say that everyone,
generality.
can we say that everyone on this list has the proper certifications, that we're not waiting on anyone to still get those? That all these people are fully ready to take those roles?
Highly qualified.
That's my expectation of Mr. Grooms when he puts them on this list, yes.
Very good, thank you.
And I know we've had, I know we've worked with the union on the, help me out here, Brian, with the 1 year.
Right, there's an, I don't know if there's an MOU, but there's a union agreement for teachers who have not passed a specific test.
Correct.
And who would have been eligible for a multi-year contract. They will only receive a 1-year contract while they're working towards passing that test.
Are any of the teachers on this list, or any of the people on this list in that category, that they don't have the license or?
Not that I know of. No.
Very good.
Okay.
No exec is needed, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I just saved us an hour.
Thank you for clarifying that. I'm sorry about putting you off, but I wanted to make sure we weren't breaking that rule, so. Thank you for clarifying it, David, and thank you too for clarifying that issue. So I would entertain a motion in a second now at this time to vote through on 1 through 4.
So moved.
Mr. Davis has moved, I'll second. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mrs. Best,
Yes.
Mrs. Shipley,
Yes.
Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, I would entertain a motion and a second to vote on number 5, supplemental contract.
So moved.
Mr. Riley has moved. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Campbell has seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Shipley,
Abstain?
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mrs. Best.
Yes. Okay, at this time, we are to administrative advisory. And, look down through here, I see nothing to vote on there. Oh, that's a report, adoption. Nothing's been added or changed there, Brian?
No.
Okay, I would entertain, a motion and a second for administrative advisory portion. We do not have anything, even though, like we said, this agenda was made and, room left in case something needed to be added last minute, but there were no last minute additions of something that needed to be adopted.
So moved.
Mr. Riley has moved.
I'll second.
Dr. Shipley has seconded. Are there any questions or discussion, though, on these items that anyone needs at this time for clarification?
Any major changes to the preschool handbook? I didn't see any besides moving to full day, right? Is that the big?
Full day, also, the Fridays will be off. We have had some staff changes, so the, updated staff changes and dates and stuff.
Okay.
Nothing major.
Okay. The report outlining the district's compliance with the district's nutritional standards. I know we were talking about that, and there has been ongoing discussion about how we can, help that program to grow, gain some back. A lot of our kids got used not to eating at school through COVID, and of course, some of our kids were out doing homeschool. So that affects, their budget as well. Been lots of changes there. I know one of the problems has been they have had trouble actually getting the food in which they order because that food is not available because there's been a lot of supplemental food given out, to food banks and different areas, and therefore even the schools are having a difficult time. Sometimes they have to replace items on the menu with what is available and still meets nutritional guidelines, and I know that's affected our, nutrition this year, so. Okay, now we are now to old business. Oops, I'm sorry.
Policies and procedure,
Oh, I'm
first
sorry,
reading.
Judy, I
We still
almost,
need to vote on
you
the
and Rick, I almost
administrative,
skipped
right,
you, I'm sorry.
We need to
all
vote
right.
on that.
We still need to vote, yeah.
Preschool handbook and the.
We will need to vote on, I'm sorry,
That's right.
we will need to vote on approving the report and the handbook. So I would like roll call, please.
Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mrs. Shipley,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Best.
Yes. Now, at this time, we have policies and/or procedures first reading. Judy, Rick, is there anything you want to highlight in those for us to make sure we review? Call to our attention.
The only thing I would comment on is the one, non-discrimination AC. We need somebody designated that's going to receive those complaints, and Mr. C shared that with us the other day. Will that be added
Is
to
that
that
a new
before we
mandate,
adopt
Mr.
it?
Cease?
No, that's,
The title.
that would be Mr. Mitchell. because
Okay,
that's
so
Okay.
separate title.
yes.
It comes under Title I?
Yep.
Okay.
So, but before we adopt it, will that name be on there, or how will that be?
Yes, it's in I think it's in the current policy book. We did
Okay.
another one, it was added. So it was August, check my memory here, it was mandated actually in August 14th of last year.
Okay.
And about, it was one of those ones where they passed the bill in June and expected it done by August 14th, I think, or something like
Okay.
that. So we've got it done.
Okay, good.
It
So
doesn't
that's-
name, it doesn't name him by name though, right? It has the title in case someone else would take on that role in the future.
I think though on the policy though, I think it actually puts his name in there.
I think it
I have to
does.
look at it. Yeah, his name is actually in that from last year. David.
Is that in the last year or in the new revision?
Well, to be in the new, I think it's in the new revision, but it was last year. You had to actually spell somebody out. You had to put a name on it. It was Tad Mitchell, and it's supposed to be publicized on your website.
So that people would know who to
Yep.
contact us
Yeah.
evidently?
Yep.
I think
Okay,
we
that
don't
makes
do a
sense, I
good
guess.
job about informing people about our complaint policy, because
Right.
oftentimes when I get a phone call or someone stops me, I say, there's a complaint
Knowing how to direct people
form.
to do it
for-
properly,
Yeah,
yes.
and it's good for anything, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Well, the
So
first
we all
rule
need to try to make sure we read that policy thoroughly and,
I guess when you vet that or discern that out, the rule of thumb would be vet that down to the lowest level.
Right.
So you're a board member, so, if nobody's talked to the teacher, you
Right.
might want to encourage them to talk to the teacher first, or then if they've talked to the teacher, then encourage them to talk to the assistant principal or principal. That's usually a good rule of thumb.
okay. And as far as staffing, we want our staff to feel comfortable if they have an issue or a concern, to be able to do that and, feel free in doing so. And to do it correctly. Not to, as you say, to follow the policy on this is who we talk to first and then, from there. Okay? Is there anything further to come from policies and procedures at this time?
Looking at that policy AC, it does have a spot in there for that information, but the first reading copy we have here is all blank, so I assume, before we adopt it,
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
my
oh,
question.
yeah,
Before
yeah,
we
we
adopt
filled-
it,
yeah,
that'll
yeah.
be filled in, yeah.
Okay.
The only other question was on the blended learning, and I'm assuming that'll be on an individual basis, that a blended learning
the
plan
blended-
is established for a student.
Yes, I believe we have some teachers at West Union Elementary. And that's actually not a new precedent. Mrs. Campbell knows that. My students, two of my children, actually all three of mine were in blended classrooms. And if you're not familiar with what a blended classroom, that might be a classroom with 3 teachers in one big room, teaching not at the same time, but in different groups. There's past precedent to show that can be a very successful method of teaching if you have the right teachers, working with that. So I just wanted to put that in because I know Mrs. Campbell, during her career, had experience with that.
We did.
And I had students who experienced that. Because a lot of people, when you say blended learning, they just look at you like, what are you talking about? What's blended learning? So, okay. Anything else? Okay, old business. Is there anything to come before the board concerning old business?
Yes.
Okay, yes,
When you
sir?
adopted your meeting schedule in January,
Yes,
August was left in flux because
Yes.
at that time the calendar had not been adopted.
yes.
So you need to set your August meeting date.
Yes, we do have some meeting dates to set, and I've been advised that there are some dates we need to look at changing because there's a conflict, to see if we can accommodate everyone to be able, we always want everyone to be able to attend each board meeting if at all possible. So August, is it 5? August 5? We actually have 2 board members now that have a conflict, so we will need to look to see if we can choose an alternative date for it.
That was the work session, wasn't it?
That's a work session,
Yeah, let's still meeting,
yeah.
so,
So do we have a July regular meeting, Brian?
Yes, on the 19th.
the 19th. Work sessions are, and Galen, you're going to be, is it okay to make that? Can I say?
I'll
Is it
just
a-
say my work schedule is gonna be changing.
Yeah, your work schedules, I just, okay, I didn't want to give the details out if I wasn't supposed to yet. Okay,
We'll wait another week on that.
okay.
Should we set that at the next board meeting?
Well, I was gonna say, why don't we all look at our calendars and, look at alternative dates? We will need to look at alternative times as well. We'll need to start that meeting that meeting a little later in the day and go a little later into the evening. Instead of a 9 to 2, we may need to meet like starting at 2 to 5 or something of that nature, 2 to 6.
So do we
For
want
the
to go ahead
work
and move
session.
the 19th?
For the work session, yes, for the work session, 2 to 6 on the hours. And then look at the next week to see what dates you would have available.
I guess, we were gonna do, this will be the 3rd, could we do the 10th? I don't know. Look and see what that is for everybody.
Yeah. We could email Mr. Schweitzer a couple dates at
I
least.
will not be here on the 10th.
Oh,
Okay.
Mr. Schweitzer won't be available on the
May
10th.
may I float out a suggestion?
Sure, certainly.
Maybe look at having your work session on the 17th,
Okay.
and then your regular board meeting on the 30th.
Okay,
That way,
When's the first day of school?
the board could attend the open houses and stuff on the 16th. You could have feedback among yourself and
oh, I would
anything
love to be,
on the
because usually,
17th, and then first day of school back for the kids on the 18th.
I like that.
Where you pick your schools, where you're gonna greet people and cover and that kind of.
because the last couple of years, we've had our first meeting the same night as open house and haven't been able to
So
attend.
that way you can attend the open houses,
Yes.
discuss about what you liked, what you didn't
I
like.
like that. I think
divide up
that's a
your-
good idea.
Divide up your buildings.
Okay, yes. Does the 17th work for everyone else?
You're saying 2 to 5?
We'll say 2 to 5, yes. If we see,
I'll
if
find
we
out
see
more
a
about-
need for that time to increase, no later than 6. But, at the most 2 to 6.
And I'll find out my availability chart.
Okay,
'cause
okay, thank
that
you,
could-
Dr.
That
Shipley.
could change too.
Okay.
So for July 19th, are we looking at 6 o'clock meeting? July 19th?
Dr. Shipley, do we need 6 or 6:30?
6:30 might be better.
Okay,
Okay.
Again, once I find out for sure, I can
okay, yes,
adjust that if we need
yes.
to.
On the 17th?
On the July 19th.
July 19th,
6:30.
6:30 p.m.
Mhm. And,
And then August 17th, right now, put down 2 to 6. And then August 30th, the regular board meeting
6:30 p.m.
at 6:30.
yes,
And then would we like to add a special June 30, 5 o'clock?
yes, we have need for a special June 30th at 5 o'clock.
What time was the 17th? That was
2
the-
to 6.
2 to 6 for the work session, Rick.
Purpose of the special?
The purpose of the special is to discuss personnel issues. And any other business that should come before the board that needs acted upon before the next regular meeting.
Maybe some hires in there right before the,
Okay,
right, might be some
That's
hires
okay.
in there before the start of the school year.
pardon me?
Might be some hires in there before the.
Right,
start of the
right.
school
I was gonna
year.
say, because a lot of times we get those add-ons that need to be taken care of. Okay. Is there anything else that needs to come before the board at this time? Hearing none, roll call, please.
First and second to adjourn.
Oh, I'm sorry, I need a first and a second to adjourn, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Mrs. Campbell has moved.
I'll second.
Mr. Riley has seconded. Hearing no discussion, roll call, please.
Mrs. Campbell,
Yes.
Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mrs. Shipley,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mrs. Betts.
Yes. Meeting adjourned at 9:20.